Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary Doreen, and on today's video of German class, I'm going to be teaching you how you can fix your verbs and use them to make sentences. If you are studying the German language, you are given maybe a test or an exam and you will be asked to fix in the following verbs into the sentences. So this is exactly how you are going to do that. If you have not subscribed, please use this opportunity to subscribe, like my videos. Please bring people to my channel to also subscribe. I appreciate your comments, and please comment and ask your questions. Share my videos. Subscribe, like, comment and share. So on today's video, I've said I'll be telling you how you are going to use these verbs to make sentences, because sometimes when you are learning a German language or maybe any other language, you'll be given some verbs and you'll be asked to use them to fill in the sentences. If you have not seen my video on conjugation of verbs, please try to go and watch that video first before you come to watch this one. And I'll also try to give you the link of that video in the description box below. So now, you might be asked to put in the following verbs in the sentences. Sometimes the verb might be in the bracket and you will ask to use them to complete the sentence, okay? So if you are given, for example, then you have the Luke there is the gap. You have überrascht, and then the verb sein is what you have in the bracket. So they want you to fit the correct form of verb in the sentence. So it's going to be ist überrascht. You are going to conjugate the verb sein in the form and then put it in the Luke. Ist überrascht. That is to say, he is surprised. What if you are given the verb vergessen in the bracket and you have du, then you have gab, you have immer, alles, and then vergessen is verb to forget, and you are asked to use it to fill in the box or the space. You will say du vergisst immer alles. That is to say, you always forget all. You see that the verb vergessen is an irregular verb. So when you conjugate it, it changes. So it's always good to notice all these irregular verbs. Number 3, wissen, verb to know. Ich, then gab, and you have du verheiratet bist. That is to say, ich weiß, dass du verheiratet bist. I know that you are married. It is ich weiß for the verb wissen, because verb wissen is verb to know. You cannot use ich weiß to conjugate this verb. So please also notice the differences in the conjugation of verbs that are irregular verbs, and that's why I said you should learn the conjugation verb video first before you can come back to this video. And it is always important for you to know the meanings of the verbs given to you so that you can use them to make complete sentences. So you have to start looking for German verbs and their meanings. It's very, very important. Number 4, you have the verb fahren in the bracket and you are given Wolfgang dash nach Deutschland. So what will it be? You conjugate the verb and put it in the gap. Wolfgang fährt nach Deutschland. So it's always important to conjugate your verb first. You cannot put Wolfgang fahren nach Deutschland in this case. If you put the verb the way it is in the bracket without considering the performer of the action, it will be grammatically wrong. Because Wolfgang is a name of someone and it is just one person. So whenever we talk about one person in German, the conjugation of verb always ends with a T. So bear this in mind. If you are given the verb empfehlen, that in the bracket, that is the verb to recommend, and you have die Lehrerin, then gab ihnen ein Buch. So it will be die Lehrerin empfiehlt ihnen ein Buch. Female teacher is recommending a book for them. Now in this case, you look at the conjugation of the verb empfehlen. In the original form of the verb, there is no I before the E, but when you conjugate it in the third person singular, you will get IE. So you have to notice all these changes when it comes to conjugation of verb. You might be given some verbs, scattered in a box, and you are asked to use the correct form of the verb to fill the sentences. The main thing is to know the meanings of the verb first before you can use them to fill in the sentences properly, like essen, verb to eat, spielen, verb to play, kaufen, verb to buy, haben, verb to have, sein, verb to be, liegen, verb to lie, and you will be asked to use them to fix in the right form of the verb in the following sentences. So you have already known the meaning of the verb. The next thing you have to do is to fix them in the correct form of the sentence. And I always say again that before you can fix the verb, you have to always conjugate the verb. Remember, we are talking about these verbs that are in the present tense, and this is just using one verb to make a sentence, because there are many ways of making sentences in German. Okay, you have one verb and you use it to make a sentence in the present tense. So you have to conjugate that verb and put them in the second position or the way it's supposed to appear in the sentence. Take for example, you are given the sentence Ich dash einen Bruder. So it's just like a brother. You see, I, a brother. Okay, a brother is in the accusative. So what are you going to fix among the verbs you have there? It's supposed to be verb haben, to say I have a brother, but you cannot use verb haben like that. You have to conjugate it to each form, which will be Ich habe einen Bruder. If you are given du dash ein Kleid, ein Kleid is in the accusative and it is also a neutral noun meaning dress. So if you look at the other verbs, what will you do? You can't use essen, verb to eat. You can't eat a dress. You cannot play with a dress, but you can just buy a dress. So you know that kaufen is the right verb to fit in this case. So you have du kaufst ein Kleid. Du kaufst ein Kleid. You are going to conjugate it, the verb kaufen, in the du form. Number 3, ihr dash eine Pizza. Now, pizza is a food. There is no other verb that can fit if not verb to eat, which is essen. And ihr, you have to conjugate the verb in the ihr form, which is there. Ihr esst eine Pizza. So est will be the right form of the verb. Ngozi dash auf dem Bett. Bett is already a bed. It is in the dative case here. Then you have Ngozi, which is a name, a female name in Igbo language in Nigeria. Okay, that means they are trying to say Ngozi is lying on the bed. So in this case, you have to use the verb to lie, which is verb liegen, to conjugate the verb, and it's going to be Ngozi liegt auf dem Bett. Okay, you conjugate it in the third person singular. The Kinder dash im Garten. The Kinder dash im Garten. So you have garden, it might be a place. So you have the verb spielen, verb to play. That will be the right form of the verb. Die Kinder spielen im Garten, to say that the children are playing in the garden. Now, die Kinder is a word in the plural. So your verb in the plural form is always going to remain in its infinitive. Okay, when you are talking about the present tense, so the verb remains like that. But not for the verb sein. There are some irregular verbs, like verb sein cannot remain like that, but almost other verbs will remain like that in the plural form. So you have to put the verb spielen like that in the sentence. Hans und Anna. Then you have the gap. You have the word hungrig. You know that hungrig has to do with hungry, being hungry. Now hungry is like adjective. Okay, so the verb haben cannot go, because haben normally goes with nouns. Okay, what you have. If it is hunger, it could have been Hans und Anna haben Hunger, but because this one is hungrig, haben cannot go. You have to use the verb sein to say Hans und Anna sind hungrig, because Hans und Anna are in the plural. Okay, they are two persons with the combination of a conjunction und to make them to be in the plural. So you have to say Hans und Anna sind hungrig. Some verbs that I have talked about before, which are separable verbs, okay, trennbare Verben. They are verbs that carry prefixes. Most of these prefixes are prepositions, okay? And then if you are making a sentence in the present tense with the verbs that are separable verbs, it simply means you are going to separate the prefix from the main verb, conjugate the main verb, put them in the second position, then the prefix will be in the end position. You will put them at the end of the sentence. So if you are given a verb in the separable form and you are asked to fix them in the right form in the sentences, you have to know that the first gap will be for the verb you conjugated, while the second gap will be for the prefix, which is going to be the last thing you're going to be saying in that sentence. Sometimes some teachers might want to confuse you. They will give you both verbs that are not separable and verbs that are separable in a sentence, but they will give you the two gaps. So they want to know if you have discovered the verbs that are separable verbs and the ones that are not separable. So the ones that are not separables, just like I have given you examples earlier, you are going to conjugate them completely and put in the second position. And then the last gap that might be given to you will remain open, or you draw a line up there to show that nothing is supposed to be there because the verb is not a separable verb. But if the verb is a separable verb, what are you going to do? Then you know that you have to conjugate the one that is the main verb and put in the second position. The one that is the prefix, you will now put it at the gap at the end. So in a bracket, you are given the verb ankommen, and you have the Frau, then gap, then you have at Uhr, then another gap. So you know that the verb ankommen is a separable verb. You can see that kommen is a full verb on its own, and that is the one you will conjugate and put in the second position. Then an, which is a preposition, is going to be at the end of the sentence. So you have die Frau kommt at Uhr an. The woman is arriving by 8 o'clock. But 2, you have the verb abholen, which is to pick someone, to pick up. Okay, and you have 9, you have the gap, mich, mein Freund Peter, zum Konzert. Then you have the last gap. So you are going to conjugate the main verb, which is holen, and ab is the preposition. So you have 9 holt mich mein Freund Peter zum Konzert ab. So that will be by 9 o'clock, my friend Peter is going to pick me to go to the concert. Number 3, anziehen. Anziehen is to dress up or to wear something. Zum Tanzen, dash, ich, meine neuen Schuhe, dash. So it's going to be zum Tanzen ziehe ich meine neuen Schuhe an. That means I'm going to wear my new shoes to dance. The verb auspacken. Herr Heineman, dash, deinen Koffer, then you have the last dash or gap. Okay, it's going to be Herr Heineman packt seinen Koffer aus. Mr. Heineman is unpacking his luggage or suitcase. Okay, Koffer is a masculine noun, so it's going to be seinen Koffer. Okay, in the accusative case, because it's Herr Heineman and what Herr Heineman is doing. Now, if you have not watched the video about accusative case where I treated foods and the food culture of Nigerian students, please go and watch it. It is on the playlist for German and African literature and culture. Go to that playlist. I talked about the food culture of Nigerian students. Go there and learn it. Learn the names of foods that one can eat, and as well see how to make a sentence in the accusative case, so that you can understand very well the way the sentences are happening, the performance of the sentence, and the receivers of the action, which are the direct receivers that are in the accusative case in this video. And I will also beg you please to like my video. Once you see, just click on the like button, just like and encourage me. Please like the video, share the video to any platform you know, make any comments you like to encourage me, or ask your questions in the comment section. I will always reply to you. Please always like the video. Thank you so much, I appreciate. So lastly, you might be given the verb mitbringen. Mitbringen is to bring along, to take along something, and then you can be given das Mädchen dash, das Medikament dash. Okay, you can see you conjugate the verb bringen because it's a verb on its own, and mit is a preposition. Das Mädchen bringt das Medikament mit. I believe that you have learned a lot on how to deal with your verbs in making sentences in the present tense in German. What you have to do is to look out for more verbs and know their meanings and see how you can use them to make your own sentences. And I will see you in the next video. So choose.